Hello, good people of Finland. I am really sorry that I can't be with you personally and in person today, but I wasn't going to miss the opportunity to share with you some insights and understanding and ideas about what it is Zinzinon is doing right now, and more importantly, what it is we intend to do as we move forward into 2023 and beyond. My background in Zinzinon started really by focusing on the problem, and the problem was the omega-3 deficiency that is well recognized around the world. In fact, the World Health Organization published figures that estimate 6.3 billion people are living with an omega-3 deficiency. And that's a critical situation because omega-3 is an essential fatty acid. And there I was working away as a research coordinator on 2 global international health strategies, tasked with this problem. How do we get people to have a sufficient amount of omega-3 in their diet, knowing the limitations? Limitation 1 is that people just don't eat fish like that anymore. Limitation 2 is we don't have enough fish. Not that we could source ethically and sustainably to feed all those people on the planet. 3, there's a cost associated to this. And as we know, cost is king. It impacts people's decision-making. And when you influence someone's decision-making, you influence their actions. And then there was a huge problem. And the problem, as I was to find out, was that standard fish oil, standard omega-3 supplements just don't work. And as a researcher, we always look to the best available evidence. And there was a paper published in 2018 that concluded that standard omega-3 simply didn't bring about a meaningful change. And that was really where this segue came in. And someone opened up my mind to this company from the Scandinavia, as it was described, called Zinzinon. It was a good friend of mine who'd had some health issues and had been advised by his physician to take this product because it was the only one that worked. And I was skeptical because I'd read every kind of report that told me none of it worked. So why would it be different? And the difference came down to 2 parts that I found compelling. Part 1 was the fact that it was test-based nutrition. I'm a researcher, I'm a scientist. Test and analysis is everything that we do. If we can't measure it to a certain extent, we don't believe it actually happened. And not only was there a test, but the test was administered and managed by one of the most reputable laboratories in the world. So this captured my interest. I knew that something different was going on here. And then I looked at the product and realized that there was genius behind the innovation. And the genius was really, really simple. Because in nature, wherever we find that omega-3, it's naturally bound to the polyphenol. And what Zinzinon had done, uniquely and successfully, was rebind the polyphenol. So before I looked at anything else, I knew that what we had here was disruptive. It was a huge change to the industry. In sport, we have a saying which is, if everyone goes zig, then you should go zag. And what we mean is if the opposition go this way, then you should go that way, because that's where the open space will be, and that's where the opportunity is to influence the outcome of the event, of the game. And what had happened is a whole industry had gone one way, had focused on total amount. And even though we knew that every time you increase total amount of omega-3, it leads to new problems, gastric issues, loads on the gut, and then problems associated when we go to the toilet, everyone persisted that way and just made general recommendations. And those general recommendations were generally failing most people. And what Zinzinon had done was go zag when everyone had gone zig. They found the open space. They thought with clarity, they thought differently, and actually addressed the problem at the source, at the heart of where the problem begins, which was to rebind that omega-3 to the polyphenol, knowing that the polyphenol itself was so powerfully anti-inflammatory. So it was a win-win. It was a double-edged sword that cut right through to the heart of the problem. And for me, I've always been focused on bringing about change. I've always been focused upon changing health on a global scale. It's been what I've seen as the crime of my lifetime, is that despite our development, our advance scientifically, medically, clinically, all associated health problems have gone downwards, have got worse. year on year, decade on decade. And when we know, we should be empowered to do things differently. And so whilst functioning within the science and research space, I always consider to be essential, because the advice we give, the guidelines we provide, have to be accurate. They have to be meaningful. They have to offer substance in order to create clarity of knowledge and understanding. It's useless if it doesn't make a difference. If we don't reach the people, if we can't speak to the community, to the population, to the people en masse, in order for them to make a change. And the fact is there's too much of a delay in time between the research publication and the change that happens in the real world. Most conservative estimates say it's around about 10 years, a full decade before public understanding catches up with research evidence. And that's why I've always considered myself a knowledge broker. I take it from the evidence so that I can empower people straight away. And then I found Zinzinon, who are doing exactly that with some of the most considered, developed and intelligent products available, particularly within those kind of areas where health really matters. Bringing about a change to your cellular status is everything, because that's what you are. You're a collection of cells, 37 trillion of them, and the quality of those cells defines the quality of you. The gut is the center of the human universe. Keeping that in balance, keeping that restorative, making sure that the right bacteria win and function on your behalf to drive 70% of immune function is essential. And then vitamins and minerals, they are the alphabet of the language with which your body communicates. So when we get them right, we empower better health. We empower a better quality of life. And when we look at global trends around health now as we stand at the outset of 2023, what do we see? We see that people are focused on test, on assessing themselves. This grows year on year. People want to know where they're at, what is their status, and what can they do about it. There is a huge trust and faith in science, but there is a huge lack of trust in how science is communicated. Because we know there's a lot of misinformation, where some people do so accidentally and others do so willfully. They'll complicate a simple message. They'll get in the way of the outcome that could be achieved. We position ourselves as a test-based nutrition company. We offer the very best available tests so that you can accurately and reliably see what your status is, see what it is that you need to change. And we work tirelessly towards simplifying the message so that you can understand the very best of the science on terms that mean something to you. So we position ourselves right at the front of a trend that's been building over time, and in fact to such an extent we know that we are leading the way, that we are actually forging that path. We are disruptors. We're changing things because we stand at the front and we elevate standards. We have a huge amount of accountability. We insist that people step up and do better. And we lead from the front by doing better ourselves. Our highest standards reflect first on us, and our highest and greatest consideration is always the health of each and every single one of those individuals that we work with, and how we can empower for them a far better quality of health and therefore a far better quality of life. And so where I began back in 2020 with this consideration of this brand new company that I'd never heard of, who were defying the odds, defying the statistics by actually bringing about a product that made a difference in a really complicated but essential space, to where I am now, in itself has been a journey focused on learning, realizing what it is that we can do, how we can innovate further to do things even better. And so for us at Zinzinon, when we look forward to what it is we intend to do next, well, the first thing is to refine, to really be better at what we do, be more effective, reach more people, and have greater impact. Then we need to be selective, keep our standards high. Anything that we add to our roster of tests or product has to meet with a real world problem whereby we feel like we can function in that space and provide a meaningful solution to people. And then the third thing, which is really the biggest thing that guides everything that we do, is can we sit back and look at what we bring forward and what we make available and genuinely say that it is aimed towards changing health on a global scale? That's our filter. They're our standards. That's where we position ourselves proudly, and that's what we will continue to focus on and be driven by, not just for 2023, but all the way forward, wherever the future may take all of us.